Embattled New York Congressman George Santos, now the subject of several investigations, with even more possibly on the horizon. Each week, there seems to be new questions about his resume, about his background. Federal prosecutors, as well as state and local authorities in New York, digging into the freshman Republican's personal and campaign finances. So for a look inside those investigations, we are now joined by Michael Schnell, congressional reporter with our partners at The Hill. Michael, thank you for being with us this Friday. At least 7 entities are looking into Santos right now. Which one of them at the moment carries the most serious repercussions, and what would they be?
That's right, Nichole. So it's at least 7 entities that are either said to be looking into him or have received a formal complaint. Now, you ask a good question. What is the one that will have the most repercussions? It's a little too early to tell, and that's for a couple reasons. First off, some of these groups haven't even formally and publicly said that they are investigating George Santos. Some of them have just simply received complaints. We've just found out that they are actually investigating him based on reporting from other news outlets. So that's one layer to this situation. And the other part of this is even the groups that have said they're looking into him, what area specifically? If it's his finances, what part? If it's those resume fabrications, what detail in particular? These specifics are really important to understand how long the investigation will take and how serious it could get. But that all goes to say one of these probes that likely won't have serious repercussions, though nonetheless it has received a lot of attention, that's the House Ethics Committee. The Ethics Committee is known for taking a very long time to work through these investigations. Very rarely do they ever come down with serious penalties for lawmakers who are found to have committed wrongdoing. But a House Ethics Committee investigation hasn't even been opened for George Santos yet. And that's because the committee hasn't even organized yet. It has not set the rules for the 118th Congress. So still a lot to see play out. And it will be really interesting to see where these investigations go over the next couple months.
It will, and a question that has been asked time and time again by so many people, but it still really hasn't been answered. How is he able to get all the way to the House of Representatives?
It keeps getting asked because that's really what's at the center of this controversy is how did he make it to the House of Representatives? The answer to that question depends on who you ask specifically. Different groups have been pinned on the blame depending on who you ask. One of those groups, New York Republicans. Some are questioning how New York Republicans could put a candidate like Santos on the ballot without properly vetting him first and seeing these discrepancies in his resume and these issues with his finances. Another group is New York Democrats. Did they not vet their opponent? Did they not conduct what's called opposition research to realize these discrepancies? And then a third, the media is also taking some of the blame for the situation. The New York Times came out with that really damning report about George Santos back in December, but that was after the election. Now, I will note there was one local outlet, the North Shore Ledger, which did have reporting on George Santos ahead of the November election. It just didn't pick up traction. So again, it keeps being asked because that's the important question at the center of this controversy. There's just not one single answer right now.
Right, and the facts are a little murky surrounding him, but one fact that is true, he is a sitting congressman. Will he be able to get any work done for the people he's representing?
Another good question. Look, he can sponsor bills and then try to get them on the House floor, but he can do constituent services, which he has been telling reporters he has been busy doing in his first weeks in Congress. But one thing that will sort of make him less effective as a lawmaker is he's not sitting on any committees. He was initially sat on 2 committees, the Small Business Committee and the Science and Technology Committee. But then after a conversation with Speaker McCarthy, he said he took himself off those committees to sort of let all this controversy play out and to see what happens. And then he says that once his name is cleared, he will be placed back on these panels. But that was a really significant development and definitely limits how much work he can do as a congressman.
All right, Michael, thank you as always. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.